Hi, and welcome to my channel. Today, trying a different location. We'll see how it works, how uncut off I am or whatever. Currently sitting on my couch. That's my window. There's another window over there. This was causing the lights. If it looks off on one side, it's because it's the only way I'm going to get natural light of any sort, and we don't really have a lot of places to plug in lights. Even if I could plug, even if I had on hand some extra lights. So, but anyway, today's video, because I meant to make one yesterday and I didn't, so this one's going to be kind of long and getting comfortable. And it's going to be the 50 random facts. I'm doing this completely off the cuff, and we'll see if I can even come up with 50. So we'll get some of the basic facts out of the way first that are not going to count for the 50. My name is Sarah. I am a 32-year-old Sagittarius living in Topeka, Kansas, mother of 2, married. And I think we'll go ahead and get started on the actual 50 random facts. 1, I was originally born in Evansville, Indiana, which is the very southern tip. 2, right before my parents got divorced, we moved to Florida, Palm Bay area. Then 3, I was about 8 years old, my dad got custody of us, and I moved back to Indiana, where I spent the rest of my years until I graduated. In which 4, I moved back to Florida, back to the Palm Bay area. Actually, it was West Melbourne. 5, that's where I met my husband, Josh, at a Walmart. 6, we moved in together in January of 2002 and moved to Orlando. Ow, I totally just stabbed myself in my earring. 6, we moved from Orlando to Kansas, where we're at, not this exact place. We moved to my husband's parents. Let's see, my son was born in 2005, so it was in 2004. My daughter was born in 2003, so if you want a timeline for that. Later that same year, so 7, we moved into this apartment, and we've been here ever since. It'll be 9 years in May. Yeah. Late April, early May. I don't know what number I'm on already. I really lost count. Is it 9, 10? I am an avid reader. I read like crazy. So much so that my husband actually is going, Kindle is a smart purchase. We'll go ahead and just say it's 11. Everything that I do now, recording wise, unless I can afford to upgrade my DSLR to one that actually has video function, is being done on a Canon PowerShot ELPH i30IS. 12. It's currently standing on a Targus tripod. It was a Mother's Day gift. I also have a GorillaPod one. My favorite Girl Scout cookie, so we'll make this 13, lucky number 13, are Thin Mints. Yeah, I love the Thin Mints. 14, I have trichotillomania. It is a form of OCD that causes me to literally pull out my hair. I have bald spots on the top of my head, and then one on each side of my head that aren't really visible, and it's why you'll never really see me with my hair down. There will always be some sort of way of keeping my hair at least covering areas. I've had that since I was 15. So 15, we'll go ahead and go with 15. When I was 15 going on 16, I attempted suicide. I was on Zoloft. at the time. And this was before all the big stuff about it causing major issues with teenagers, and I was almost a statistic. After it happened, my parents found me stumbling around because I was overdosed on Tegretol, which was my mom's anti-seizure medication. And they immediately rushed me to the ER, where I spent 2 days in the hospital after getting my stomach pumped. And then I spent 3 months in a mental hospital, which actually wasn't even my first time there. Number 16, at that time when I was in the hospital, I was diagnosed with bipolar. This was before they actually broke it up into 2 types, which is one is more medicine controlled and one that it can be controlled through behavior modification. At that time, they decided I was the more that was designed more for behavior modification, and that the medication was exacerbating it. 17, when I was 12, which was 6th grade, math class, I went to lay my head down to take a nap because I was just so exhausted. I had never felt that exhausted in my life ever. And I woke up on the floor with the nurse and 2 EMTs kneeling over me, telling me that I had a seizure. Everyone that was in that class, even on the day that we graduated, we were talking about memories that we had from school, and every single one of them goes that they remember me having the seizure, and it was a grand mal. It was my first and only ever seizure that they've actually been able to see and record, but my EEGs do show that I have minor seizures all the time, and they're actually have been able to link it to hormones. And then that's a recent development. So 18 is I was last year when I went to the GP to get an IUD the new IUD. I'd already had it for 5 years, first one for 5 years, so it was time for the re-up it. My doctor officially diagnosed me with PMDD. That's the severe form of PMS, the one that lasts basically, instead of only lasting 1 week, it actually lasts 3 weeks. The only time you actually have like any sort of relief from it is when you're actually, it's that time of the month. I don't have a period courtesy of the IUD, but the IUD, it keeps my hormones so steady that I don't have major symptoms, and the PMDD was misdiagnosed as bipolar, and I don't have the cycles, and when I do, I can feel it coming, and we actually have been able to figure out the triggers, and there actually is still a cycle to it, but there's so much more controlled, and that if I feel a huge blow up coming, because mine are major depression and major anger issues. So I'm able to see them coming, and I'm able to fix them, or at least find the alternate release so I don't do something I'm going to regret later on. Wow. So this isn't actually going to end up being a 50s tag, because I'm not going to end up reaching, I'm telling so much that it could be like all 50. But, so this is more of Sarah's life story without drawings. So I can't draw, so I'm never going to draw my life. Plus, my life was so freaking depressing until until I met my husband. I don't want to really bring it to light. I mean, I've talked about it. I've done therapy. I haven't seen a therapist since I was 16. But as an adult, even though I didn't want to listen to anything that was said to me as a child, as a teen, of what was going on, what was being said, I am able to apply that to my life now as an adult, and I'm able to use it with my children, and it's helped my relationship with my husband and everything like that. The fact that even though I didn't use it then, I can use it now, and I don't know what I would do. I am thankful my parents had health insurance, or decent enough. So, camera battery died, and I totally forgot what I was talking about. because I was talking about health insurance. I really don't want to get into a big debate about that, but I do want to say that I am a big proponent for the ACA or Obamacare, as it's being derogatively used. ACA is basically just, it's health insurance for everybody. Everybody has a right to health insurance. Everybody has a legal, not even a legal right, a human right to health care and affordable health care. My parents, because of my health issues, because of my brother's health issues, because he was born with a hair, lip, and cleft palate, that cost him years of issues, sinus issues and surgeries. I mean, I've lost count of how many surgeries my brother has had to have to try and repair it, and it's still not even, it's not even completely fixed. That, and then my sister, who had a heart murmur as a baby, and then it kind of went away, and then it came back, especially after she got pregnant. My parents have debt. No one should have to take out 2 mortgages to pay for healthcare costs for their kids, no matter what is wrong with those kids. With the diagnosis of PMDD that I got, if I didn't have insurance through my husband, who works for the post office, we're pretty freaking lucky right now. If I didn't have that, I would, until the ACA, I wasn't eligible. Even with the bipolar diagnosis, even though I hadn't seen a doctor for that particular medical condition, I hadn't seen a doctor for it since I was 15. Since I got the diagnosis, my parents were just fed up because they were constantly giving us different diagnoses, and then they're like, "Oh no, she just needs this and this and this and this," and it wasn't doing anything. It didn't do anything. It made, if anything, everything that they did exacerbated the issue. My parents just stopped, and I will say that maybe that wasn't the best choice, but it was the best choice that they could make, and a lot of it was because it was financial. When you're watching it basically look like that money's going down the drain, you're done. You quit. You're like, whatever, I'm done. And that's what that became. I don't want my kids to ever have to worry on if mommy and daddy can, if they break something, a bone, something like that, that mommy and daddy are going to have to sell something to be able to pay those bills. I don't ever want them to feel like that. And that's, I grew up, I kind of, as a teenager, because I understood what was going on very well, and not because my parents made me feel guilty or anything like that. I mean, it's like my dad apologizes to me going, "I don't ever want you to feel like you feel guilty and that I ever made you feel that way." It wasn't anything he did. It was in here knowing how many sacrifices my parents had to make, my siblings had to make, because of my mental health issues that still you can't really find any coverage for. Here in Topeka, for example, they closed Meningers, which was the mental hospital. I don't even know if the mental hospitals, I stayed in 2. There were 2 different ones. But I ended up being being hospitalized 3 times, but it was in 2 different hospitals for the bipolar, manic depressive, bipolar, PMDD, whatever. And I don't know what would have happened to me if my parents wouldn't have had that option for me. I mean, I lived in one for 3 months. I did school in one for 3 months. My teachers had to send me my homework for 3 months. And then I was a freshman in high school. I mean, on a couple of them, it screwed up my grades really bad, and I was never able to recover those grades. And I have 3 Fs that I graduated with, and there were two of them were my freshman year, and 2 of them were those 2 were from that particular time. The other one was a gym class one. I hate gym. I didn't want to dress, so I didn't, and I failed, and I learned my lesson with that, and I was able to grow from that. So it took me 4 semesters, so 2 sophomore and junior year. My senior year, I finally actually had like my graduating GPA. I think it was like a 3.6. I had to get like 3.8, 3.9 for like 5 semesters straight. just to bring up those 3 failing grades. So, and that's, you shouldn't have to worry about flunking out of school because you're having mental health issues. I got lucky. I didn't really get bullied at all. The ones who did try found out really the hard way not to bully me, because it wasn't even completely the bipolar or whatever that I had that caused me to be vicious. It was just, I had so much going on in my head, and I'm like bashing myself inside my head. I had the worst self-esteem, and then you're adding people who are trying to mock me and everything like that. And you're gonna lash out. A lot of times though, I ended up lashing out at the wrong people, and that's my biggest regret, is lashing out at people who didn't deserve it. I can't even tell you the names of the people that I lashed out at. I can tell you the names of a couple people who I graduated with, who from like middle school on, because we didn't go to the same elementary school. I mean, I have a few of them that I went to elementary school with, but that to this day still make me feel like I wasn't completely worthless in high school. And who make living so far away from where I grew up really hard. I mean, my family lives, all of my family, minus like my husband's side of the family, and even then, most of them live all the way. His family lives mostly in the DC area, in Florida. Mine all lives in Indiana. Every single family member lives in Indiana. Indianapolis, Evansville, and Newburgh is where the majority of everybody is, and I don't see any of them near often enough. Once a year maybe. Like last year I went and saw my family. And this year my parents are actually coming here. It's the first time they've been here. I think Ethan was 2 or 3. I think it was like the summer right after, no, I think it was the summer before my mother-in-law died. So that was a while ago. She died just 1 month after my husband and I's 10th year anniversary. 10 years of being together. Holy crap. Really? No. 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. Being together. Yeah, Maddie was 4. It would have been 5, because our 10 year, it would have 5 years that she was gone. So we're going to be together. This would be our 13th year. So it'd be 8 years that she's been gone. And so it's been 9 years since my parents have been here. Maybe not that long, maybe 7 years, because I don't remember exactly if it was before she passed away or after she passed away. But still, it was like, that's a long time. I mean, we haven't moved, so it's not like there's a huge difference, but it is a big difference, because my parents, though they haven't seen our new car, they know the truck. And then that's the biggest reason my dad's coming, is because we're having some issues with my truck, and he's a mechanic, and I feel like I've totally gone off topic and just kind of rambled about everything. Almost cried a few times. But I don't know. That's life. That's me. I'm a rambler. I like to talk. And I feel like if you left a camera on me all day, you'd see that I look just for an excuse to talk. I will talk to anybody, pretty much about anything. I'm very... The camera, it keeps shutting itself off. I don't know what to do. I think it's a sign I need to go ahead and stop talking. I do want to show off my shirt. It's I am a member of the CTFXE. This is actually the first shirt I've ever purchased when it comes to basically a fandom that, you know, isn't like geeky, because, you know, I've got my Yoda, and this is my husband's Chewbacca. I have an R2-D2. I have a Wicket bobblehead. I have a Leia figurine. So I'm not, and there goes my phone. So we're gonna go ahead and show this off. But it's the Go Vlog Yourself. He's got two different versions. There's like the middle finger one, but I have kids, so I had to find one that's kind of appropriate. But I love it. I absolutely adore it. And it's really, really soft and fits really comfortably. So I'm going to fall in the couch. Ugh. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm sorry this was so long and that I'm so rambly. And hopefully I'll remember to do something tomorrow. Friday I have a field trip with my son. And I'm not sure if I'm going to just like vlog it. Just like do random vlogging with that or not. We'll see. So I will talk to you later. Bye.